Would you believe that behind all of this foliage used to be the hottest club in Hollywood? For 4 years, Les Deux was the place to be for A-listers and hangers-on. On any given night in the late aughts, you could see Paris, Brittany, Lindsay, and Kim Kardashian's old face. It was famously the hangout for the faux reality show The Hills. The teen dramedy, The OC, also filmed an episode there. Escalades lined up on Las Palmas outside the club for the C and B scene. For one moment in time, this tiny, hidden spot next to a parking lot was the hippest place on earth. The shows, TMZ, and the throngs of paparazzi most likely attracted Southern California's version of the bridge and tunnel crowd. Locals gave the spot the nickname Les Douches. That was the beginning of the end. Soon, the A-listers didn't want to rub shoulders with the plebes. Or they got sober, got married, had kids, or just migrated to more trendy spaces. Places without nobodies with iPhones. And by 2010, Les Deux was no more. But Les Deux began life as Les Deux Café, the brainchild of the iconic Michel Lamy, French fashion designer, performer, and restaurateur. Lamy transformed a part of a parking lot between Las Palmas and Cherokee, right off Hollywood Boulevard, into two Provençal-style gardens. Patrons dined on mosaic tables among night-blooming jasmine, eucalyptus, and an old magnolia tree. As Lamy's vision came into focus, the space closed multiple times. She relocated a doomed craftsman-style home turned crack house from Alvarado Street to the site. The 1904 home was rumored to be once owned by James Cagney. Lamy's designer, collaborator Paul Fortune, hung his personal framed photo of Cagney in the restaurant. As the construction was happening in the gardens and the house, Lamy decided to purchase and restore the structure facing Las Palmas. This nondescript building was home to a long-defunct jazz club called Tip Top. But more importantly, it was the site of House of Ivy, one of the historic gay clubs that sprung up in Los Angeles during World War II. Les Deux Café was famously exclusive and was a favorite of the Gen X glitterati like Nicole Kidman, Cameron Diaz, and Heath Ledger. David Lynch and Al Pacino were also regulars. Bill Murray invested in the space and would occasionally tend bar. Lamy herself would perform, turning the restaurant and club into a cabaret. The place had true depth. It had a French salon aesthetic with a gothic occult velvet underbelly. It was more art installation than restaurant, especially because the service was notoriously terrible. The staff was auditioned and hired for their looks and talent rather than their ability to wait tables. But people didn't necessarily come there for the food. Lamy and the iconic fashion designer Rick Owens began a romance in 1989, while she was still married to her first husband. The notoriously nomadic Lamy eventually left Los Angeles and her beloved Les Deux Café and relocated back to France with Owens in 2002. Without Lamy's direction and inspiration, Les Deux Café lived in hospice for 2 years before finally succumbing to the changing tastes of Hollywood. The Frankenstein's monster of a restaurant was then revived in 2006 as Les Deux, and finally died altogether in 2010. It was home to a few inconsequential restaurants, but now it sits vacant and is nearly invisible. You wouldn't even know it was there. The only reminder that anything ever existed in the spot and Lemie's influence are the overgrown gardens that have overtaken the entire area. The space will be leveled for a development. So far, the development is only in the first stages, and it seems to have been either delayed or permanently shelved. But the renderings are complete. And well, they look like everything else that's being built right now. But as with most pending developments in Hollywood, my question is, who exactly are these spaces for? Los Angeles has multiple half-full luxury apartment buildings with ground floor retail space. Is that really what we want? Develop this space. It's just a parking lot. But not another cookie-cutter luxury apartment building. There's too many in the area already, and even more planned. Luckily, the development is stalled, but right now, this is another vacant piece of history rotting in the streets of Hollywood.